Okay, so to set your handle buttons, you would use this ribbon down here, and it says My Stitch Buttons, meaning you have 4 choices to set your buttons on your handles. So this is different than My Stitch Presets, which is up here. So the My Stitch Presets is to set your stitch preferences. So I have button number 1 set to coast regulate, 12 stitches per inch, speed 12, and I have button number 2 set to 15 stitches per inch, coast regulate, speed 15. So when I want either one of these, I just press button number 1 or 2 on this screen here. So it's not in the handles, it's not programmed in the handles like these are. It's up here is your shortcut, once you set them. So in other words, if I press 1, you'll see right now I'm at, well, actually I'm on number 1. That must be the one that I used the last time I used the machine. But let's say I wanted 15 stitches per inch and speed 15, I would just click 2 and there it is. So, and to set those, if you forget how to set them, if you click on My Stitch Presets, just click on Presets, here's your instructions. And it says you may save 2 different groups of stitch settings as your presets. 2 different groups, 1 and 2. And first choose a stitch type, constant, regulate, coast, regulate, or base. That's over here. This is blocking it, but it's behind this. Then choose the stitch settings. In other words, I chose 15 stitches per inch and then speed 15. And then to save it, you hold and press the button, in this case number 2, for example, 1 or 2, so in this case 2, you hold that button for 2 seconds and it saves it. And then to recall it, like I said, you can just press button number 1 or 2. So this part up here, so I'll click OK, My Stitch Presets, that works, and that does save these settings when I turn off the machine. So I'll just go through and change one of them real quick. So let's say right now I'm on Coast Regulate 1515, number 2. You could see it's highlighted. Let's say I wanted to set button number 2 to constant. So I just go into constant. And right now I have the speed at 22. Let's just say I wanted it at 23. And then if I wanted to save this as button number 2, I hold number 2, and you'll see this will change. Whoops, I didn't hold it. Let's go back. I accidentally hit it twice. Okay, so 23, constant 23, and my arm is getting tired. So I'll hold there. So I held it for 2 seconds, and now button number 2 is at constant speed 23. Let's say I wanted to go back down to 22, and I'll hold it, and now it changed to 22. So these will hold next time I start the machine. However, down here now, let's go to this ribbon. These 2 buttons, C and D, do not hold when I restart the machine. They will hold for things like start, stop stitching, my A button. If I click it, you get the options. And so for things like start, stop stitching, they will hold. Tie off, it would hold. Needle position, you could see I have B, those hold, those save. Single stitch, I believe that one does save. Some of these I didn't test, like these I didn't test. My stitch select, I believe that's if you want to save these in your actual handle buttons down here. So, and I think that works, I'm not sure, I could test it. But the H and the V lock, the horizontal channel lock and the vertical channel lock, they don't save when you restart the machine. And it doesn't matter which, button I assign, they don't save. It goes back to the default, which is start, stop stitching. Now it looks like I already pressed C here for H. Okay. And usually this is what I have to do every time I start the machine. I have to re-choose it. Okay. And if you click on buttons, you get the instructions. Okay. You may assign different functions to the handle buttons. Touch the button on the tablet, then choose an option, which is what I just did with the H and V. At least one of the buttons must be assigned to the option Start, Stop Stitching. Well, I do have button A assigned to Start, Stop Stitching. I know it's black now, but it's down here. And then you can check or uncheck lock my button assignments so they can't be changed. In other words, when you restart the machine, these choices will stay. And you can check or uncheck that. I don't know why you'd have it unchecked. So that's always checked. Click OK. These two are for your right handle, the switches on your right handle. These two are for your switches on your left handle. So I'll test it. So I'm going to hit, and you might be able to see here, okay, C and D. If I press C, I'm going to press C, so I'll go back up here. So when I press C, you see that locks. If I press it again, it unlocks. If I press D, if you watch this up here, it locks. Press it again, it unlocks. So you could see that they do work, and I do have this checked. So it should save when I turn off the machine, but here's what happens. So I'm going to hold this to turn off, to power off. So I'll hold it, power off, and then power off. Hit my two buttons on the actual machine head to power off. I'll just wait a few seconds, and then again, I'll hold the button to power on. Usually when I get it in the morning, when I first turn it on, you'll get the battery show up on the screen. So as soon as the battery comes up to a certain level, you have to hold the button again until the screen goes black, and then let go, and you'll see the Samsung logo, and it'll load. But since I already did this, since I have it plugged in and I already turned it on and off a couple times, the battery is not showing up on the screen. So go to Gammill Vision, and it's loading. It says disconnected, so that means the Bluetooth hasn't connected yet. Whoops, I forgot to turn on the back buttons of the actual machine. I just turned the tablet on. So let me turn on the machine in the back. I think because I'm filming, I'm forgetting to do that. Okay, now it's connected. But even though it says it's connected, you can see this still says start stop stitching. It went back to it. It did not save my H and my V. So every time I turn on the machine, I have to remember to come in here and press H and press V again, and then, you know, start my work. But sometimes I forget. And sometimes I'll press what I think button C is H lock, and it'll actually be on start stop stitching. I don't know why this doesn't go. It'll be on the default start stop stitching, and you know, I have to tear out stitches because it'll start right away. So I don't know why it's not saving. And you know, it says on here lock my buttons, but it didn't save them. Now if I choose something else, let's say on here I put tie off, okay, and it should save it when I turn this off. So I'll hold the button up here to turn it off, power off, power off. I'll hit the buttons in the back. And I'll turn it on by holding the button. Okay, I get the screen. I'll turn on my machine buttons. So if you recall, C was tie off and D was vertical channel lock. And I believe the tie off will save, but the vertical channel lock won't. Okay, I'll hit Gammill Vision. It says disconnected. It's loading. So it's disconnected to the Bluetooth. So you have to kind of give it a minute. But even though it says disconnected, you can see the tie off did save, but my vertical channel lock went back to start stop stitching. Now it's connected, and you know, still I'd have to resave everything. Well, it doesn't save, but I'd have to re-input my H and my V. If you did want to save your stitch presets on one of these buttons, whoops. My stitch select, that's these up here. Okay, so now I'm not sure if I hit C, I don't know if it goes to 1. Let's see if it goes to 1 or 2, because I don't usually use this. Okay, so I hit C once and it went to my stitch choice 1. If I hit it again, it went to my stitch 2. So I'll turn it off, see if that saves, and I'll put this, you know, I'll put it on H this time. And I'll turn it off. So I'll hold the power button up here, power off, turn it off in the back, Gammill Vision 2. Okay, it's loading here, disconnected. You could see my stitch select did save, but my H over here on button D did not save. So I don't know why it's not saving. So it's connected. I'll turn it back to H and V. I'll test them. You want to make sure it says connected before you test them, because if it's not connected, well, it wouldn't do anything. But sometimes when I change this, if I test it right away, it's almost like it doesn't catch up. And if I hit button C, it'll start stop stitching, even though I have it at H lock, because I I didn't give it enough time, you know, like 30 seconds or whatever. So I'll test it now, and it is working. V is working. And when I turn it off and turn it back on, power off, hit the buttons in the back. I used to think that it was the order that I'm turning on the buttons, but as you can see, the other ones are saving. I mean, I could try it again and turn on the machine first and then the screen, you know, then the tablet. I'll try that after this restarts. But I believe I've tried that before. This has been since 2016 since I got the machine. This has never worked. And they aren't able to figure it out either at Gammill. So I'll hit Gammill Vision, and you could see it went back to start stop stitching. A lot of times I forget, and I'll hit C and it'll start stitching. So it says disconnected. Give it like, now it says connected. But still, I'd have to reset everything. So if somebody can test their Vision 2 and see if their H and V are holding, that would be great. That would be great. At least I know then something's wrong with my machine. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye.